Welcome to Chapter 7, the chapter that quietly rewires how you think about your own value. We are in Part 4, Build, and the subtitle tells you the destination: how de-skilling execution unlocks exponential human value. That phrase sounds like a contradiction, and resolving it is the work of this slide. Start with the paradox in the first band. For generations, the rule was simple: to be valuable, you must be skilled at the technical craft, skilled at the difficult execution. The harder the task, the more it proved your worth. That belief is so deeply embedded that most leaders feel a quiet anxiety when AI does something quickly. If it was easy, did you really earn it? Here is the reframe: AI has not just unlocked the old skilled doers only gate, it has ripped it off its hinges. The question is no longer, can you do it? It is, do you know what to do and why? Judgment, framing, and decision making are the new skilled traits. And the executives who recognize this early gain an enormous structural advantage. That leads to the core principle. In the dark band, the sentence to carry through the whole chapter: humans for dream and decision, AI for mundane action. By de-skilling execution, leaders concentrate their human energy exactly where it creates irreplaceable value: vision, judgment, strategy, and influence. De-skilling here does not mean becoming less skilled. It means becoming strategically skillful, choosing which skills are worth your scarce attention. The executive summary states the stakes plainly. As AI makes execution cheaper and faster, the professionals who thrive are not those who resist AI tools, but those who strategically redesign their work around them. The chapter gives you the design tools, 3 task types and 3 engagement modes: de-skill, augment, and automate, that together tell you where human energy delivers the greatest return. Finally, the learning objectives set the targets. By the end, you will see AI de-skilling as a strategic advantage rather than a threat. Apply the 3 task types to sort your work into outsource, augment, or automate. Use the DISH out framework to identify what to hand to AI immediately. Apply the 4 E's: explore, expand, edit, and elevate to deepen strategic thinking. Use the 4 S's: structure, script, screen, and scale to design automation. And identify the human capabilities that remain irreplaceable. Hold those 6 as we go. 3 task types, 3 value curves. Before you decide how to engage AI, you have to be honest about what kind of task you are doing. The chapter argues there are 3 fundamentally different value curves, and each one demands a different strategy. Mismatch the strategy to the curve, and you either waste effort or leave value on the table. The first type is diminishing returns, and the strategy is to outsource it, to de-skill. On these tasks, early effort produces significant value: the first draft of a document, the first pass at an analysis. But as you refine and polish, each additional hour produces less and less. Formatting a presentation, writing routine emails, generating first draft summaries all sit in the flat part of the curve. AI reaches good enough far faster than you can, which frees your effort for work still on the steep part of its value curve. The leader's action here is Herbert Simon's idea of satisficing: reach good enough and redirect. Chasing perfection on a diminishing return task is not rigor, it is a misallocation of scarce executive time. The second type looks like a J curve, and the strategy is to augment. Early stages feel slow and incremental, but past a threshold, the returns become exponential because each unit of effort compounds on the last. Learning a new domain, developing strategic thinking, building new organizational capability are all J-curve tasks. Here, AI should be a sparring partner, challenging your assumptions, generating options, accelerating your climb. The crucial point is that the human insight remains essential. AI helps you learn faster and think more broadly, but it does not do the thinking for you. The third type sits in a specific quadrant: high complexity combined with high repeatability, and the strategy is to automate. These are genuinely complex processes that follow a consistent pattern every time: a weekly report pulling from 5 data sources, a customer onboarding sequence with dozens of steps, a compliance review against a fixed framework. They feel hard because they are cognitively demanding, but the combination of complexity and repeatability makes them ideal automation candidates. High complexity means there is enough substance to justify building the system. High repeatability means the investment pays off quickly. And the warning on this card is the one leaders most need to hear. Do not confuse complex with irreducibly human. Many tasks feel like they need human judgment simply because no one has made their decision logic explicit. If you can write down the rules, AI can follow them, often better than a human under pressure. The three engagement modes: deskill, augment, automate. Having sorted the task, you apply the matching mode. This slide gives the working framework for each of the three. Mode 1 is deskill and its framework is DISH. Deskilling means deliberately offloading the execution of low return tasks so your judgment can concentrate on higher value work. DISH names 4 categories firmly in the diminishing returns zone. Draft, let AI produce the first version of emails, reports, summaries, and slides. Investigate, use AI to surface signal from noise, including background research, competitor scans, and literature reviews. Synthesize, let AI weave information from multiple sources into a coherent first pass. Housekeep, handoff, formatting, filing, scheduling, tagging, and administrative triage. But when AI does the doing, the human does not disappear. The human shifts to the 4 Ds. Define the right question and success criteria before AI touches the task. Design the AI workflow, the prompt sequences, feedback loops, and quality checks. Decide whether the outputs are right, safe, and ready to use. And disseminate, turning AI-generated output into decisions, actions, and alignment through communication and influence. Mode 2 is augment, and its framework is the 4 S. Augmentation is for J-curve tasks where your judgment, creativity, and strategic thinking are essential to the outcome, but AI can accelerate progress and widen your thinking. It applies most powerfully in strategy development, product design, coaching, and high-stakes communication. Explore, use AI to challenge your framing, stress test assumptions, and surface what you might have missed. Expand, generate options, variations, and prototypes to react to. AI produces the raw material, you do the evaluation. Edit, synthesize AI's output into a coherent, high-quality narrative using your professional judgment and your knowledge of the audience. Elevate, add the final human layer of nuance, empathy, and strategic context that makes the output genuinely yours. The warning here matters. The greatest risk in augmentation is letting AI's fluency substitute for your own thinking. A well-written output can feel like insight even when it is generic. Always ask what AI does not know that you do and recruit it as a critic, not just a collaborator. Mode 3 is automate, and its framework is the 4 S's. Automation is the most powerful mode and the most frequently misapplied. Done well, it creates a category of capability impossible at human-only speed and scale. Structure, convert fuzzy, unstructured problems into structured data with rigid constraints, making explicit what has always been implicit. Script, build the prompt chain where each step's output becomes the next step's input. This is workflow engineering. Screen, build logic that automatically flags uncertainty and routes only genuine exceptions to humans. Scale, instrument the workflow with monitoring, version control, and continuous improvement loops so the system gets better as it runs while your role shifts from execution to design, oversight, and exception handling. And the warning, automation is not set and forget. Systems drift as inputs change and edge cases accumulate. Build a regular review cadence into every automated system. Monitoring is not passive, it is an ongoing quality function.
Five, human capabilities.
that stay irreplaceable. The paradox now resolves into a single principle. As AI occupies the execution layer, your distinctly human capabilities become your primary source of value. The professionals who thrive are not the best executors, they are the best deciders. 5 capabilities define this new human skills portfolio, and they are the 5 cards across the top of the slide. Taste and curation. Knowing which AI outputs are excellent and which are merely adequate. A discernment built through years of engagement with excellent work. Judgment under uncertainty. Making good calls when the data is incomplete and the stakes are real, which is what separates good leaders from merely capable operators. Empathy and relational intelligence, building the human relationships that make organizations actually function. Strategic framing, seeing patterns across complexity and identifying what the real question is beneath the surface problem. And communication and narrative, turning insight into action through clear, compelling communication that moves people. Notice that none of the 5 is an execution skill. Everyone is a judgment or relationship skill. The exercise on this slide, exercise 4, makes it personal. List 5 tasks that consume significant time in the past 2 weeks and classify each as diminishing returns, J-curve, or high complexity plus high repeatability. For each diminishing returns task, identify which DISH, draft, investigate, synthesize, housekeep category it falls into and what you would hand to AI. For each J-curve task, identify which of the 4 E's, explore, expand, edit, or elevate you are currently underusing. And for each high complexity plus repeatable task, map it to the 4 S's and ask what structure would look like for that process. A typical calendar audit finds that well over half of an executive's time sits on diminishing return tasks, which is an immediate opportunity to reclaim a day or 2 each week. The key takeaways gather the first half of the chapter. De-skilling execution concentrates human energy on irreplaceable judgment, strategy, and influence. 3 task types demand 3 modes: outsource for diminishing returns, augment for the J-curve, automate for high complexity plus repeatable. DISH, out, identifies 4 categories of execution to hand to AI immediately, while the 4 Ds describe the indispensable human roles that remain. The 4 A's frame how AI accelerates thinking without replacing it, and the 4 S's provide the architecture for trustworthy automation. Above all, the transition from laborer to architect, from doing to deciding, is the defining career move of the AI era. The AI skill progression ladder, 15 levels across 3 tiers. The second half of the chapter turns the philosophy into a map of capability. The AI skill progression ladder lays out 15 levels across 3 tiers, so you can locate where you and your team stand and design the path upward. Its own objectives are simple. Map the 15 levels, identify which tier your team operates at today, and design a development path to the next tier. Tier 1 is individual productivity, levels 1 to 5, where AI is a personal tool. Level 1, the ad hoc query user, uses AI for isolated questions with no workflow integration. Level 2, the context-aware requester adds role, goal, audience, and format to every request. Level 3, the first draft accelerator, generates initial drafts and asks for multiple variants. Level 4, the editor in the loop, reviews AI output for tone, accuracy, and alignment. Level 5, the meeting intelligence operator, converts notes into decisions, owners, dates, and risks. The typical tools at this tier are ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, and Copilot. Tier 2 is system building, level 6 to 10, where the individual starts to engineer repeatable systems. Level 6, the persistent context manager, stores profile, voice, and recurring context across sessions. Level 7, the framework prompt operator, uses repeatable prompt frameworks for recurring tasks. Level 8, the single project integrator, runs one AI-assisted project end-to-end against a key performance indicator, or KPI. Level 9, the audience adaptation specialist, repackages content for different stakeholders. Level 10, the decision brief architect, uses AI to compare options and surface trade-offs and risks. The tools here are custom GPTs, Claude projects, and Notion AI, Tier 3 is organizational leverage, levels 11 to 15, where AI becomes an asset for the whole team. Level 11, the workflow mapper, documents where AI assists and where humans decide. Level 12, the automation architect, connects tools into repeatable multi-step workflows. Level 13, the insight to action translator, converts raw data into structured recommendations. Level 14, the team enablement lead builds shared playbooks, prompt libraries, and guardrails. Level 15, the internal copilot builder prototypes no-code AI copilots for team-specific use cases. The tools at this tier are Zapier, Make.com, N8N, Lovable, and VO. Two takeaways frame the ladder. Most people plateau at tier 1 because the jump to tier 2 requires a deliberate investment in configuration, and tier 3 is where AI stops being a personal productivity trick and becomes a genuine organizational asset. Identifying champions and setting minimum level targets is what accelerates team-wide adoption. That is exactly what exercise 5 asks you to do. For your direct team, estimate how many people sit in each tier and the percentages. Name the most common level, set the minimum level everyone should reach within 90 days, and name the one person who could be your first tier 3 champion. A worked example might find roughly half the team at tier 1 using AI only for ad hoc queries, a third at tier 2, and a couple of leads already mapping workflows at tier 3, with a 90-day target of moving everyone to at least level 4, the editor in the loop, so that no one ships AI output without quality checking it. Thank you.